Hello to BBC News Facebook page. I'm Murad Batal Shishani and I will be discussing with you the Yemeni conflict, a devastating situation ongoing here. There's a war have been witnessing by all Yemeni people since September 2015. Although the country, which was described the poorest Arab country, is still suffering from loads of issues. We will talk about it today together and I'll be expecting your questions. I'll try my best to answer most of them, if not all. But let's start first with this clip.
Yemen has always been struggling. A conflict between Houthi rebels and a Saudi-led coalition. Both sides have been accused of war crimes, but it is the Saudis that the UK and its Western allies are backing. The United States government has been the Saudi-led coalition's strongest backer, providing intelligence, advisory and logistical support, including mid-air refueling. So far, over 10,000 people have been killed, millions have lost their homes, and there is no end in sight in this war. The Saudi government has denied deliberately targeting civilians and humanitarian supplies. Both sides in this conflict are accused of atrocities, and as with most wars, it's the people who pay the heaviest price.
Well, devastating and complex situation, as you know, in most of the Middle East these days. Yemen, usually known as a country, as I said, it described the one of the poorest Arab countries. Although there are a spread of weapons, people can easily carry weapons, as well as there is a divisions based on a tribe, based on sectarianism, as we see now. Houthis, which accused by Saudis that allying Iranians because they're sectarian affiliations. On the other side, there are a Sunni tribes. So that's how the war is very complicated. And if you look to Yemen specifically, last few days, we noticed that there was a raid by American special forces that caused the death of this young girl. We can see her in the screen. Her name is Nawar al-Awlaki, and her father was a very well-known, prominent Al Qaeda ideologue. Back in 2011, he was killed by an American airstrike. But this man's role was really influential, and he sort of created a new form in the understanding of Al Qaeda modus operandi, or operations, if you like, and the methods of operation, as we say. Anwar al-Awlaki started to present Al Qaeda ideology in English language, in a very articulate English language. He was born and raised in the United States of America, so he started to present the ideology of Al Qaeda in English language. Then it started, many people started to be inspired by his ideologies. One of the most remembering incidents happened when an American soldier attacked his colleague, killing 13 people in Fort Hood in Texas back in 2009. A few months later, he inspired a Nigerian young boy to carry what were better known as the underwear bomb. And there is Ming sending me saying it's such a tragedy. Yes, Yemen is a tragedy. If you look, there's already a poor country. We're devastated with the situation. Millions lost their homes. More than 10,000 were killed now. And both parties of the war accused of using the or committed crimes against humanity. If you look to the situation now in Yemen also, there is between these both parties also Al Qaeda, which usually has a strong presence. They started to bank more on this devastated situation to have a more influential role there. I have a question from Maria. Is it safe to live in Yemen? Of course, you can see, even for a journalist, it's very difficult to go to and cover in these areas. It's a very devastated situation, and it's very difficult. But Yemenis are trying to cope with a lack of water, with the shellings on every day, with a lack of medical help, medical assistance on day-to-day basics are missed in this country. And unfortunately, this story is less covered by news because Middle East, we have loads of story coming in, and Yemeni story always goes to the bottom comparing with others. But the situation is really devastated here. Bilal asking me is, what is the main reason to continue to civil war in Yemen? Of course, the divisions. Yemen is the division on all levels, even on a locally, regionally, as well as internationally. There is no an effort mutually by all parties to go and push for a peaceful solution. If you look to the divisions between Saudis and Iranians, is very strong over Syria, over Iraq, in the different places. If you look now as Western countries also supporting in a way or another Saudis in their campaigns there, so that it will be very difficult to find a solution. Someone asking me, Fuad Ilyas, how we stop Saudi interference. Also this question being raised, that's not also Saudis, but Saudis themselves also saying how we can stop Iranian influence in this area. And this is the problem, because there are both sides thinking they are defending their own people and they are stopping a regional power from playing a role in this country. And that's like those youngsters and civilians paying the price. So there's also another question. What is the possibility that Houthi hides within civilian community? This also raised many times, because when Saudis targeted a wedding and a funeral after that, there was accusations from Saudis saying that they are hidden among the civilians. On other sides, the Houthis said no, that was an aimed target, targeting deliberately civilians. But the problem is, in such wars, if you look to that, they are the local tribes, the local components are fighting each other. So it's very difficult to distinguish between civilians and military soldiers, if you like, or militants. If you look now, see in the south, there are committees, there are groups that carrying guns and fighting, and they are civilians but turn to fighters. They say they are defending their homes and their lands, but if you look to the situation, that gives the how complicated it is. I have another question saying why we are not any of this shared under Obama administration. This is very interesting question, because if you look to the situation in Yemen, drone attacks, for instance, increased and intensified under Obama administration. But yeah, a few days ago there was a raid run by, which was described the first by President Donald Trump, and it ended up by killing civilians and also one of the American soldiers killed, as well as a helicopter collapse. We don't know yet the details, but it seems it was a very big event happening in the south of Yemen, where Al Qaeda building a strong base by allying the locals. The question is how we can help. This is a question for the all humanitarian organization working there. There's another question by Asma. Is Houthi same as IS? If know what the difference between the two of them. IS is mainly a Sunni doctrine group, while Houthis is belonging to Zaydi Shia, closer to Shia, although they are the closest to Sunni sect in these divisions, although there is a huge differences between both, of course, although they are both militant groups, but IS have a different strategy than Houthis. Houthis is based in Yemen, although they've been accused of working with the Iranians or under the influence of Iran. But on the other hand, IS is presenting themselves as jihadi, crossing the border group, and this will take us or more on that. How involved are the UK? The question is, British government were accused of supplying weapons to Saudis, which used against civilians, and there were efforts to stop this supply in the UK. And also there is why other countries have to intervene in the internal affairs of Yemen? This is an important question. Many people asking the same questions, but Saudi think that this is an influence backyard of Saudi Arabia, and also they say they are afraid of the Iranian influence in that backyard, hence they launching this campaign. But also there's internal politics when the previous president Ali Abdullah Saleh has lost his good relation with Saudi Arabia. He started now to encourage others to join, if you like, the fight against Saudi Arabia. Also, I need to stress on a very important note here that the Al Qaeda in Yemen specifically, which the topic I've been following for years, that creating an alliances with the local tribes, and this giving them a sort of a presence, if in like, especially in the south of Yemen. But we've noticed that many people we notice mainly we are focusing these days on IS, although there's in Yemen also, as well as in Syria, Al Qaeda looking for a presence in that devastated situation in divided country, as you can from this picture. The suffer goes day to day.